Welcome to my channel Learnovate. In this video, we will going to discuss about the physiology of CSF, that is the cerebrospinal fluid. We will going to discuss the whole system of the CSF and what is the function of CSF in providing brain a caution effect. We will also going to discuss the CSF flow, composition, its flow, absorption and its production through the choroid plexus and how this flow through different areas of the central nervous system and prevent the brain from blow. Now what is CSF? The CSF, that is a cerebrospinal fluid, is a fluid that is being running between the brain and the spinal cord. Here in this diagram you can clearly see that this whole blue fluid is around the brain and the area of spinal cord covering the brain stem. This fluid is between the cranial vault and the brain. So in this way it will going to protect and provide protection to the brain. In providing protection, in addition to protection, it also provides nutrition and prevention from metabolic waste. The CSF runs and then it will be absorbed through the arachnoid villi into the venous sinuses and bringing away all the metabolic waste of the brain. Also, the CSF provide a caution effect. And what is the caution effect of CSF we will going to discuss. First, we should know the CSF volume. The volume of CSF is about 150 ml that is being produced and being absorbed, and this CSF will going to remain constant. Now the caution effect of CSF is because of the same specific gravity of CSF with the brain. So because of the same specific gravity of the fluid and the brain, there will be no blow to the brain and there will be a floating of the brain in this fluid. So in this way the brain floats in CSF and prevented from any blow or injury. Now coming to the flow or formation of the CSF and how this rate of flow of CSF is maintained. This rate of flow of CSF is maintained through the absorption and formation continuously. The flow rate of the CSF is about 500 ml per day. That is, the CSF is being produced from the choroid plexus of the lateral, third and fourth ventricle. Guys, here you can see this is the lateral ventricle that is connecting with the foramen of Monro, with the third ventricle that is connected with the fourth ventricle through the cerebral aqueduct or the aqueduct of Savalus. And then this fourth ventricle is connected with the areas, that is the areas of the meninges, and then here it enter into the arachnoid villi. So in this way, in these ventricles the CSF flow and that is being released by the choroid plexus of these ventricles. So this was about the flow, but how this is produced we will going to discuss and see it by a diagram. Now guys, here you can see this is the choroid plexus, that is the choroid plexus of lateral ventricle. Here there will be a production of CSF by the veins and the arteries, and there will be a formation of the CSF by the active secretion. There will be the active secretion of sodium, chloride and different ions including the glucose and ammonia that is being produced from this choroid plexus and being added in the CSF fluid. And then the CSF fluid will going to circulate all over the brain through the different areas and through the areas of the villi, and then ultimately it will absorb into the arachnoid villi. Composition of the CSF is similar to mostly of the plasma, but if we compare, there is somewhat differences. That differences is that the chloride of the CSF is about 15% greater than the plasma, while the potassium is about 40% less than plasma and the glucose is about 30% less than the plasma. Other compositions are usually similar, containing the proteins and the lymphocytes to be a very small amount in the CSF. Now in this diagram, figure 62.5, here is the final flow of the CSF, that is from the lateral ventricle to the third ventricle through the foramen of Monro, and then from the foramen of Monro to the fourth ventricle through the aqueduct of Savalus, and then from the fourth ventricle from the different foramens it enters to the lateral foramen of Luschka or medial foramen of Meganti into the arachnoid villi, and then it surrounds upward through the superior sagittal sinus, and then ultimately it drains into the arachnoid villi, through which it goes to the venous sinuses and being absorbed in the blood. So this is the flow and the pathway of CSF, that is started from the lateral ventricle ending into the arachnoid matter and then ultimately into the dural venous sinuses. So this was all about the cerebrospinal fluid system. I hope you will explain well. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more.